Hey guys, YouTube Urban Hunter here. Alright, now here I am with another review of a live action movie based on a cartoon. Yeah, and now here I am with the review for the Garfield sequel, Garfield: A Tale of Two Kitties. So, this movie was released a couple of years after the first one was made, yeah. And, and basically, like the cast, all the cast from the first film did return, well, at least like the main cast, Bill Murray, returned to voice Garfield. Breckin Mayer returned as John. Jennifer Love Hewitt returned as Liz, and and also they have the same dog that was Odie back in this movie. Yeah, and so I'm not really sure like why this sequel was made. I don't know if it was like for contract reasons or whatever it may be. It's kind of similar to like what I was talking about with like Scooby Doo 2. How it just I don't know if like there was just like some sort of deal with the studio for like a sequel to be made or whatever the case may be. But yeah, this movie like nonetheless, yeah, this movie like was made and yeah, and just like the first one, I mean, yeah, it's still a bad movie. I mean, yeah, I mean, just yeah, I mean, like the Scooby Doo sequel, I mean, this was something where they really didn't mm, um really like improve on anything from the first film. So yeah, so this film really just does suffer from the same problems that the first film does. I mean, just yeah, I mean, just it really doesn't have like anything that really Garfield is really known for. Like, just yeah, I mean, just yeah, this really just doesn't have anything to do with Garfield, and it really is just like a pretty pointless sequel. Like, it doesn't even like continue the events of the first film, or it doesn't really like act as continuation or any of that stuff. Like, it's just like we're seeing the same characters from the first one back, and it's like an entirely different story. So yeah, so really, it's just like a pretty much just like a very useless and pointless sequel. Yeah. And plus, also the sequel just, yeah, it really just is just very off, and yeah, it just really doesn't make a lot of sense because the title, "A Tale of Two Kitties," it's obviously like satirizing "A Tale of Two Cities," yeah. But yet, like the premise of this film is really just like basically a Prince and the Pauper story. Oh yeah, all it really is like there's another cat that looks exactly like Garfield, yeah, and then they get like a switched after like they get like a mistaken for one another, and yeah, and they're just like living each other's lifestyle, and then they eventually do meet up, and yeah, then the change or the mix up is eventually like discovered, and yeah, and yeah, that is basically the story. Like it is just a Prince and the Pauper story. Only difference between it is that all in the Prince and the Pauper, like the two like actually like a change willingly. Here, like it wasn't done by will. Like they just like get mistaken by like the owners or as just one another, and then yeah, then they just live like the lives of one another. So yeah, so it really is just like a very pointless movie, and yeah, and just I don't even understand like why they the time satirizes A Tale of Two Cities when the story is a Prince and the Pauper story. So it really doesn't make sense. Like, wouldn't it have made more sense to actually make a like give the movie like a similar title as The Prince and the Pauper? But no, they like give it like a just a totally different title that just really doesn't really make sense. So yeah, so I just really don't understand like what the decisions that they really did make for this movie. Yeah. So yeah. So the story for this movie is that Liz is going on business to England, and yeah, and John is like a planning to propose to a Liz, and so then he decides to go to England and have to follow her. Yeah, and then then Garfield and Odie then end up like sneaking along with John, and then then when they arrive in England, like there's this royal cat that looks exactly like Garfield, who's named Prince, and he's voiced by Tim Curry. So yeah, like point there, like it's got Tim Curry in it. Yeah. Yeah, and it shows that like after like his owner has died, like like he has like inherited like all of her belongings. But yeah, her nephew is like jealous, and he wants like the all the belongings. So yeah, so he tries to really just to get rid of the cat, and then yeah, then when Garfield comes along, Garfield then meets all the other like all the animal servants that Prince has, and then Garfield is really living Prince's life, while Prince's life is living Garfield's, and princes meet Odie and John and all this, and then Garfield meets all the servant animals, and then eventually the nephew then does discover Garfield, thinking of course he's Prince, so he's trying all these things to really get rid of him, but they fail, and then then eventually Liz then ends up touring the ends up touring the castle that Prince lives in. Then eventually then Garfield then realized that the nephew is really trying to hit on Liz, and then so Garfield is really trying to get him away from Liz, and then Garfield gets captured and put into a dungeon, and then the animals then do rescue him, and Garfield then attempts to leave, but then he runs into the real Prince, and then Garfield, Prince, and all the animals then come up with a plan to fight the nephew, and then all the animals then team up to take him down, and then John and Odie then eventually do discover the mix-up, and then they travel over to the palace, and then then eventually it's shown that there are in fact two cats that look the same with Garfield and Prince, and then they eventually do end up defeating the nephew, and then he gets arrested, and then just the cats go back to their uh, their real homes, and then at the end John proposes to Liz, and she says yes, and then Garfield, Prince, and all the animals then have a party to celebrate. Yeah. So that's basically really all this film really is. It really is just a Garfield and Prince getting mixed up, and then they're just living one another's lives, and then they it shows how Garfield is being treated, of course, as royalty with all the animals and everybody that is in the castle and all this stuff, and it also shows how Prince is now with John and Odie and Liz, and I guess there was one funny scene when like uh Prince is given lasagna. Of course, I didn't even mention in my review for the first one how something else Garfield is known for is that he loves lasagna. Yeah, and that was a running bit in the first film, and they have that again here. Yeah, and and it was kind of funny how Prince really didn't even know what lasagna really was, and didn't even know it was for him. And then when he tried eyed it, he loved it, and then he just stuffed his head right into the lasagna, and then it went everywhere, and then just he asked for more. So I guess that was kind of funny. Yeah, and also there was this segment where Garfield, the real Garfield does teach all the animals how to make lasagna, and they all eat it and they love it, and then they eventually fight over the last bit of lasagna. Yeah, So just this film is just very very simple. It just is just Garfield and Prince. It's just living one another's lives, and then they eventually meet up, and then they fight off the villain, and that's pretty much it. So so this movie really just there's not really a whole lot to it. Yeah, so I just really don't even understand why this film was made and why they gave it just a this kind of story, and they don't even give a title satirizing it. Instead, they just satirize a totally different title, which really doesn't have anything to do with the movie. I mean, just Tale of Two Kitties. I mean, I mean, was that the only thing that really references is that there's two cats that look exactly alike? That's really it. I mean, was that the only reason they used this title? So, I just really don't know. But yeah, either way, when it comes down to it, just this movie really just does suffer from the same problems as the first film. Bad effects, just bad writing. It's not funny, and and like I said in the first my review for the first film, just the CG for Garfield is just really really bad, and and it is just as bad in this one. And just to make it worse, we got now two cats in this movie that are CG and then look exactly the same. So so this one really just does suffer from the same problems that the first film does, and it was just absolutely pointless to really make this film, and it just has a title that really doesn't make sense. So so I just really don't know what else to really say about it. Just it was a pointless film, and it'll probably be forgotten just immediately after anybody sees it. So so I just really don't know what else to say. Just yeah, I don't recommend this film. I mean, and I didn't even recommend the first one. So yeah, just stay away from these two Garfield movies and just stick with the cartoons and the comics. Yeah, but yeah, But yeah, yeah, this movie just I didn't like it, and yeah, and I'm probably not gonna watch it again. Like I told you guys, how I never did see this movie before, or until I just watched it to make this review. Yeah, but yeah, and now after seeing this, I do think that once is enough, and I don't think I'm ever gonna watch this movie again. All right. So yeah. So I guess I give this movie, like the first one. I give it like a 1.25 stars out of 4. Yeah. Just a very bad and forgettable movie. Yeah. So yeah, but I am glad that there, at least it's good that there are just two of these movies. Like Nostalgia Critic said in his review, like if these movies went on, they would probably just end up getting worse. Like I don't know if like a third movie was actually uh, plan for this series, but like Scooby Doo, since it didn't do so well, it was scrapped. I don't know. I haven't heard anything about that, but yeah, either way, like at least it just was only two of these movies made. Yeah. So yeah. So yeah, like I said, just bad, forgettable movie, and yeah, just skip it. Don't even bother watching it. All right. So I guess that's all I can really say about it. Not a really whole lot to say. So yeah, so I guess this is all I can say. All right, so this is my review of Garfield: A Tale of Two Kitties. So I hope you guys did enjoy this review. I know this was kind of a shorter review; it was only like 11 and a half minutes, but yeah, there wasn't really a whole lot to say. All right. So yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed this review, and stay tuned because for my next review, I'm my next review is going to be a review of a movie based on a cartoon that I really don't know a whole lot about. So yeah, so the next review I guess will be an interesting one to watch. All right. So yeah. But I hope you guys enjoyed this review. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.